What is up, guys? So I'm going to decorate my hat. This isn't a tutorial, just how I decorated mine. Obviously you could do many different things, but what I'm going to do is have the contact paper. I'm just going to trace out, I'm going to put this upside down and trace out a border and cut that out and put an X in the middle of the contact paper so this could go fit under it. And then I'm going to debating if I'm going to put a border around the contact paper, but again, this is marbleized. If you guys seen my whole room via my Instagram, I've I contact papered a lot of things, but to test out if the contact paper is actually going to stay on, what I did was had an extra piece, and this was on here for like the longest time, so it actually really stays on. So I didn't want to glue directly on the cap. Honestly, I didn't want to walk, but my family wanted me to. So, you gotta do what you gotta do to make people happy. But yeah, so the contact paper stays on really nicely. So I'm going to go ahead and put pictures on top of the contact paper, but just to test it out, it works super well. And yeah, so I'm debating if I even need the border, but we shall see. Okay guys, so I went ahead and cut the shape or the size rather, that I'm going to use around this, and I cut a 1/2 inch leeway on each side. Obviously when you fold this, you're gonna want to cut the edge and let it overlap each other. But what I'm going to do now is find the center and cut a huge X, so when I'm applying this fits under the contact paper. So I found the center and I went ahead and used X-Acto knife. So obviously this flips, over under, and that is going to be the section where you fit this in. So you gotta play with it. If you had a cardstock, you will have no issue, but since I'm using contact paper, I have to pull off everything. So I'm gonna see how that goes. Alright guys, so I went ahead and covered the whole hat, or the cap, and it's obviously this is contact paper, so it's a little bit messy, but I figured I was going to cover this with art or whatever, anyway. But I could go ahead and trim the borders to make it, even, but honestly, I don't care. So I think what I'm going to do is let this drape down on the edge of every side, and I'm going to glue directly on the contact paper. Again, I don't want to mess up the actual cap itself, so what I'm going to do is I'm thinking of either gluing or sewing, I'm not quite sure, but I'm going to put this all around the border, and hopefully it will kind of take away from the underneath. But like I said, I think I'm either gonna glue it or sew it really quick. So this is how it looks so far. I have the border all completed, and now it's time to actually put stuff on it. So this is my faux calligraphy. So I'm gonna get my X-Acto knife and go ahead and cut these babies out rather, and let's see how this sizing goes onto my cap. So it's getting super dark now. It's almost 7:45 at night, but anyway, so I originally wrote the letters, the faux calligraphy, on paper, and then I just started to cut it, but that was way too tedious. Because I wanted to get the letters really perfect, so on pencil, on paper you could always restart, but that took forever. So I went ahead and on this contact paper I used a disposable, you can see the Sharpie markers on my hand, the Sharpie. Anyway, I used this this, I think it's called Friction, yeah, Pilot pen. It's erasable, and I used my finger because since this is contact paper, it doesn't really stay on the pen, and with friction, obviously with heat, it's going to be able to erase it. So I did this like with the pen and redid it multiple times to get the shape that I wanted, and then I went ahead and got my fine point Sharpie and traced the letters, and then I'm gonna go ahead and trace it again with another fine tip Sharpie, and then I'm gonna do my faux calligraphy again. But if you were gonna do paper, and just cutting it with the X-Acto knife, that's gonna it's gonna take forever. So I suggest, if you're not using paper, like if you were using paper, you could use a pencil, but on contact paper, I suggest a disposable marker, or oh my gosh, disposable, not, oh my gosh, erasable pen. Oh my gosh, guys, it's way too warm in here. Okay, so this is how it looks like right now. The Lord is my shepherd, so I'm gonna add the two photos, the when we were younger and the most recent photo, and then I'm gonna add the last section of the Bible verse. Alright fam, it's getting really late now. It's 10 o'clock. I've been taking a break really quick. But what I did was, what I really wanted to do was do like a horizontal Polaroid to fit like family photos. So I have a family photo of when I was younger, and then a more recent photo, and I try to make it like a faux Polaroid, so I left up some space, but I wanted to make it look like it was intentional, so I just wrote some random quotes at the bottom. So now I'm just gonna glue these babies down and then write the rest of the Bible verse and the Psalm 23:1, and then I'm gonna call it a day. Okay guys, it's nighttime now, but so this is what I have, and the blue ink is erasable pen again, so I'm gonna go ahead and Sharpie them in, and I'll be done. Okay, I'm done. That is how it looks like. The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. Psalm 23:1. And there's my family photos. And then there's lace on the side. And the honors college tassel. And yep, I'm done with school and life. But